One of the biggest questions that people always ask you is like, what's the best advice you've ever gotten? Or like, what's one advice you would tell to like the younger generation, right? If you see like people doing interviews, stuff like that. And I feel like for me, the best advice is also the worst advice that I've gotten, right? And it kind of flipped it around. Um, and that advice at the start was to be realistic, right? When you tell someone your dreams, tell someone your goals when you're younger, they look at you and say, okay, but be realistic. Like if you told them you wanted to play in the NFL or play in the NBA or do this or maybe like be a they say your dream was to be a trillionaire or something, whatever it may be. They look at you and say, okay, be realistic though. And that right there is the worst advice I've ever gotten. I flipped it, and from that, I found the best advice, and that's to be unrealistic. I feel like if your dreams, your goals, whatever you want to do in life is like realistic in a sense, I feel like it's not big enough because being realistic is keeping yourself in a box, keeping yourself constrained, putting a limit on your potential, right? And that's what you do not want to do. Um, because realistic, when I think of realistic, I just think of average. Like, all right, this is the average person. This is what's realistic for somebody, right? And that's never what I want to be considered, right? Never want to be in the same block as average, right? In anything that I do. So when we talk about best advice, definitely be unrealistic. Nothing you should do should be realistic. Um, just because if you look at people that have done great things that are um, like worthwhile, you'd call successful, whatever it may be, if they were younger and they told you that, um, say it was LeBron, right, and he was 6 years old, whatever, he told everyone that he wanted to be the best basketball player in the world, the number one best basketball player of all time. They would look at him and be like, all right, but like be realistic though. Like, what do you actually want to do? Like, what's realistic in the end, right? And it's like if he didn't have the mindset of he was already going to be the best player in the world, and there was nothing that was going to stop him, he would have never became that. I don't care how like naturally talented you are or what natural gifts, natural talents you have. If you don't have the mindset of I want to be the best and I'm going to be the best, or I already am the best, right? I just have to wait for that time to come. You are not going to reach what you want to reach, right? And that's in anything you do. That's in business. That's in sports. That's in life. That's in whatever your goals, whatever they want to be. And I don't like really calling them dreams. I was just talking about this with my friends also. Calling them dreams because dreams inherently aren't real. Like why do we call our goals dreams? Because dreams are not real, right? So let's just call them goals, something that we're going to achieve. Um, so yeah, best advice by far is to be unrealistic with whatever you want to do. If something's realistic, it's not big enough in terms of your goals. You're not thinking big enough. You need to double it, right? And that's a big thing that I've been thinking about. Right? It's just when someone tells you to be realistic. 'Cause I've heard it countless times in my life. Right? Okay, you want to do this, or you want to be this, or you want to complete this. All right, let's be realistic though. That's a horrible thing to say. A horrible thing to put a constraint on yourself. Um, that something that even if sometimes people will say that with stuff that's already been done before, and if one person can do it, just because it's low probability that you are going to do it, means it's 100% possible, right? Um, and you want to be that 1%. I don't care if it's whatever you're trying to do has a 1% rate of happening or 1% chance of happening. Like if you go hard enough and you quite literally dedicate everything you do to that one task, that one mission, that one end goal, there's quite literally no way that it can't stop you because there's going to be 99% of other people that are going to stop and be like, okay, this isn't realistic. There's 99% of people that are going to be realistic, right? And I'm not talking to people that who are going to fall on that path, right? I'm talking to the real killers, the real dogs out there, right? That want to be the best and want to compete, right? In everything they do. That's another thing, competition, right? I talked about it in my last video, um, not falling into that average portion of people, right? And that's going to be found in competition. When you talk about surrounding yourself with people that are better than you at a scale, or surround yourself with people that know more than you, or you're never the smartest in the room, or never the richest in the room, or never the brightest in the room, it's because competition is always going to make you perform better, right? And that's no matter what subject it is, no matter if you're talking about school, or no matter you're talking about sports, or no matter you're talking about business, the people around you, they are better than you at something. You're going to do everything you can to reach that level and surpass them, right? Because you don't want to feel left out. You don't want to feel like you are the worst in the room, right? And that's a bad feeling, but it's also a good feeling because you know you have something to work towards, right? And so you never want to be around people that you are better than, right? People that you don't respect because that's inherently, subconsciously, just going to drive you down in terms of what you want to do. And that's why surrounding yourself, like I talked about in one of my last videos, with people that are spending the 5 people who show me the 5 closest friends, and I'll show you you're going to be the sixth, whatever the quote is. That's why that's so important, right? But most of all, just being unrealistic, being delusional, people call it. Um, a delusional amount of self-belief. I've heard it say a bunch of times. People that are successful say it all the time, that they had a delusional amount of self-belief in themselves, and that people would call you crazy for some of the stuff they do, that people won't understand. Like Kobe had a quote that said, "I don't understand lazy people. I don't want to understand lazy people, and lazy people don't understand me. And I don't care that they don't understand me, because I don't want to understand them in the first place, right?" And honestly, yeah, same thing for me. Like, I don't get it. I don't get people that don't want to do something. Like, I don't get it. Like, honestly, I don't want to get it. Just like Kobe said, I don't want to get it. But like, I don't understand it, right? People that are inherently lazy in a sense, and don't want to be something or be somebody or whatever it may be. I'm not saying that all has to be rooted in money or fame or status or whatever you think is, important in life. I'm saying that whatever it may be, like, they don't want to be the best at what they do, right? People that are just fine with being average. It's just realistic, right? It's realistic. And that's exactly what we want to run from, is being realistic. So biggest thing I can say, best advice I've gotten, worst advice I've gotten was to be realistic. And the best advice I've gotten out of that is to be unrealistic with everything you do. Stray from average, be delusional, have a delusional amount of self-belief.